Hi, my name is Winslet, and in this video, we will be going over all the content you get in the Dragon Dawn DLC for Age of Wonders 4. And what I mean by that is basically we're going to be looking at all the interesting numbers which are associated with the new Dragon Dawn DLC content. And if for any reason you want to jump to one point in particular, you can use timestamps below. I'll be linking to things like all the different tomes you get and the units that are associated with them. For example, you get a Tome of the Dragons, I believe, and another one, Tome of the Evolution, and this guy comes with a dragon unit that evolves. So we'll be looking really closely at his stats and what he evolves into, as well as like things like the Obsidian Dragons and the Golden Dragons in this video. Big thank you to Paradox Interactive and Triumph Studios for sending me a free early access key to Dragon Dawn, and I will be streaming the Dragon Dawn DLC content over the next 2 weeks on my YouTube channel and Twitch. Right now, it should be about this video should be going up around 6 a.m. Pacific time, and I think uh, moving forward, I'll probably be starting my streams a little bit later in the day, maybe 3 hours later, just so if you are watching this soon after it came out, you can kind of find my content and all the stuff I'll be doing over the next few weeks. The Steam page for the expansion pass, which the Dragon Dawn DLC is a part of, basically says that Dragon Dawn DLC is going to come with three things. You're going to get a new Dragon Ruler type, you're going to get a Reptilian form, and you're going to get new tomes. I believe it's two new tomes, one new form, and one new ruler type. If we look here at this Dragon Lord, it says basically you get extra gold with Dragon Hoard, and that basically says if there are items in your arsenal that aren't going to be that aren't getting used, they generate either 1 gold for being a tier 1 item, or 3 gold if they're a tier 2 item, or 5 gold if they're tier 3, and 9 gold if they're tier 4. You're probably going to want to use your tier 4s, but if you got a bunch of items, sometimes you know getting something out of them can make a big difference. Getting a little bit of extra gold or a little bit of mana can make a big difference. I think the artifact hoarders gives you mana, so this kind of synergizes really well with that new thing that comes with the free Wyvern update. Dragon Lords have a 30 gold unit upkeep. They're kind of like a higher tier ruler, so they have extra upkeep associated with them, and then they can't equip most hero items. I think the stuff on the left that you can usually equip, like your armor, your helmet, your leggings, that kind of stuff, that's just not part of the Dragon Lord's mechanics. They get access to different stuff instead. They get access to powerful hero skills and transformations, which we will take a closer look at now. So our new Dragon Ruler hero skills are right at the top of the list. It's kind of like the Feudal Lord, but you actually have a lot more options with the Dragon Ruler type. You have access to this thing, gives you extra HP at the first level. Then you also can choose between 2 defense, a little bit of extra spirit resistance. I think the spirit resistance is coming from the fact that this guy has a high culture background, and you get a different type of resistance based on the culture type. Like, for example, I think Chaos would probably be resistant to fire or something along those lines. And yeah, after that we have extra vision, including True Sight, which lets you see invisible units. You have sensing range, which lets you detect people off in the fog of war. Pretty useful stuff in general. I usually use scouts for that kind of purpose, so I don't know if this is worth putting on a hero. Tail Swipe is great because it's a melee strike that hits a lot of units. It's a one action thing, so you can move really far forward and hit 2 or 3 units, knocking them out of defensive mode and taking away their retaliation. The uh, dragons, I believe, all start with a melee strike and a little dragon breath, which they can then upgrade once you get past the earlier levels of the Dragon Lord skills. This says we need 1 point in one of these things before we can start taking like Ancient Governor. Let's just grab Tail Swipe because it's cool. But we also have access to other things at the next level. We could get the Comet version of the breath, which does an AoE. It hits in the center and 1 radius around it, and then the cone hits like in a triangle. I forget how many exactly that is, but I believe it's like it starts off with just like 3 and then it goes out to what would be attached to the 3 in front. The line 1 is a little bit more straightforward and self-explanatory. It deals damage to all units in a 5 hex long line. I actually didn't try this out, but I have a feeling this works like the Shakarn's Deadeye ability that would do a line attack, as well as I believe there was a Sphinx unit, a flying Sphinx unit that could shoot in a line as well. So setting up these can be kind of tricky, but that allows you to have some decent range. It's a 1 range attack, so hitting 5 in a row doesn't seem to hit much further or any further than Dragon Breath would. There are things that increase your ability to your range on your magic attacks, and I think down here actually so many things. Yeah, distance evocation could allow you to hit further away, but essentially they would both get boosted by that, so they wouldn't there'd be no extra range on one of these compared to the others. I think the cone is short range. Exhilarating Roar makes people strengthened and hastened. Strengthened is extra damage, hastened is extra mobility. Kind of useful if you're trying to set up your other units, but I found that my dragon was pretty much using their breath attack every other turn, or um, every every 3 turns, I guess, because it'd be 2 turns in between getting to use it with a cooldown of 2. But you can make it so that that's faster. If you take Quicken Breath, then the cooldown is no longer 2; it's a cooldown of 1. I like Comet. I think I'll take Comet. And then you don't have Quicken Breath yet, so maybe Ancient Governor seems pretty good. That seems like a bit of knowledge. After that, Quicken Breath is pretty self-explanatory. That's this attack. Once again, this is radiant damage because we're looking at a dragon that started off with the high culture. I think it's a different damage type based off of your choice at the very beginning there. Tail Bash allows you to displace units up to 2 hexes. That just is on your tail swing. So because I took tail swing, I can upgrade it a little bit here. I don't know if that's true with like dragon scales and the other things that are associated with that, but they might be in there. I have a feeling that attack is slightly different than the other things. Yeah, I didn't know actually that if you took tail bash, you can get you can stun with it. That's pretty good. You might reset your dragon and have them just run forward and do a lot of damage. Terrifying Gorging is like abilities that we've seen in previous Age of Wonders games. This one makes it so that you have a 90% chance of consuming lower tier units. If you do that, then the dragon is healed 30 HP, and if that is resisted, then the target takes 30 points of physical damage, which is quite significant. That's not no damage. So if you're going to use a full action, if you're going to be that close to a unit and use the skill, you're either going to take somebody off of the field, which is really good, or do some damage, which is decent. It's not terrible for like a resisted effect or a failed effect. When the dragon is killed, the last unit that was consumed is brought back, which is pretty interesting. I'm sure there's potential for a lot of bugs there, but I haven't played around with this mechanic. I think this is going to be a really fun thing to see in multiplayer, trying to like free people who've been devoured, gorged by the dragon, just to get your action economy back up and going. Sounds fun. Order Aurora, this is, I think, yeah, linked to the high culture choice. Says here at the end of the turn, I can make it so other units are going to get Rally, Fortune, or Bolstered Resistance. I wish I could see all the different auras that you get for the other choices you take, but I think that we might get, yeah, we get aspects at this choice, not auras. It took me a while to actually find the transformations you get for your Dragon Ruler. They're up here in the signature skills. You get access to one of them at level 12 and the other one at level 4. And level 8, I believe, I think that one was, I think after I take one of these, it becomes like a normal hero skill or a normal signature skill. So right here we have basically we can give fortune to our guy, so when spells are cast he gets more crits and resistance, as well as increasing their upkeep. All of these increase their upkeep by 7. Chaos makes it so that you do extra damage when there's negative status effects on a target. You also gain 50% morale from all sources. I like that quite a bit actually. I think the stacking negative status effects is very nice because there's a lot That drive unit's insane. Materium aspect says you get plus 30% crit chance, plus 2 defense, which is quite good. It's not nothing, but it's not as good as crit chance was in the previous version of the game, where it kind of let you override hit chance. Now you do need to consider hit chance when you're trying to get crits. You can't have a hit chance that is higher than your accuracy, so it's kind of like capped off by your accuracy. Nature aspect gives you extra HP and watchful, which makes it so you have more retaliation. That allows you to just basically tank better. If you want to be a tanky dragon, that sounds like something that can work pretty well. I think you start off with a little bit more armor, a little bit more defense, maybe 10 more HP, and access to these really, really powerful skills. Yeah, the order aspect gives faithful status resistance, and you inflict condemned with your attack, making it easier to apply status effects. Yeah, this is similar but different to the order Aurora. We have Shadow Aspect, gains Soul Drain, reducing units' morale and applying Soulbound, plus 30% damage against units with low or lower morale. Yeah, I think Shadow Aspect is going to be pretty popular. This is one I was playing around with a little bit recently because they made a lot of changes to Souls, and I think an Evil Dragon that uses Souls sounds fun. It seems on brand. But yeah, I think my favorite one out of these is either this one or this one. Let's go with Materium just for now. It changes the way he looks a little bit, I believe. And now when we look here, it's just like normal hero skills. I think Summon Undead is still worth getting. You still get some extra actions. After this, we have these transformations. This one says the unit becomes ethereal, which means they're like immune to a lot of status effects. And they have extra spirit resistance but less lightning resistance. They're bigger. They become part lightning damage, if not astral. So this damage, I think, would get some lightning on top of it, or it would convert it to something else. As a base chance of 70% to inflict stun, always inflicts electrified. If we scroll down to here, you can see he is a juggernaut. I wanted to see the size of this unit. I think that's listed up here. Yeah, large target. I think it's going to go up to something else. They're 20% easier to hit, have charge resistance. So if you pick one of these, I think they're going to go up from large target to something like giant. Chaos transformation makes it a fiend type. Not bad. It gives you all these things. Desolate Walk, immune to burning. Becomes part fire damage. Increase sizes. Oh, the breath attack. Right. Okay. So just the breath attack is going to be affected by this this stuff down here. It has a 70% chance of inflicting random negative status effects, which can be like insanity or berserk, which can lead to enemies just attacking their own units. I think this is the best one, just based off the fact that you can get those negative status effects relatively consistently. It always inflicts burning. Yeah, this one always inflicts. Yeah, so that makes sense. Inflicting stun is quite good. Being able to consistently say this group, this AoE of units is not going to get actions next turn is super useful. I think yeah, the Materium one works similarly. It can stun things. So this is like, what do you want? Do you want them to try and like actually start attacking each other with the chaos, which is random, or do you want to consistently just like take actions away from people using your transformation? And it always inflicts bleeding. Yeah, all these are pretty similar. This one gives regeneration to friendly units that are hit, which means that I think the breath attack can heal friendlies while also inflicting negatives on other people. Pretty interesting. None of the others have quite the same interaction as that. I guess actually, never mind. The order one does. That I hadn't seen that yet. Heals friendly units by 25 temporary hit points and removes status effects. Aren't a lot of ways to dispel negative status effects, so I could see some people really liking the order transformation. Inflicting distracting makes units a lot easier to kill because every attack against them counts as flanking. Very powerful. You know what? I don't know if I I may have been wrong about chaos. That was just based off of an instinct. And I saw that, I was like, oh, inflicting negative status effects, that can be very good. But yeah, these guys will change their transformation a little bit. I think chaos is something we'll be seeing later in the video. So let's see what a shadow transformation does to my dragon. He's going to be a little bit undead now. Cool. while I was recording a later part of the video, I noticed a little bit more about how this transformation actually works. It says it increases the size of the breath attack. So right here, we have the Comet attack with a radius of 2 hexes. If I didn't have the transformation, it was just a radius of 1 hex. I'm going to reset my skills to show off what happens if you take the cone. So the cone is going to be just a 3 hex cone if you take it like this, but if you take the transformation, it becomes a 4 hex cone, and the line shot becomes a 5 line shot that is also, I think, 3 wide. We'll click on that in a second just to show it off. But yeah, this guy, it becomes a 4 hex cone, and I don't have the Imperium to do that, so give me a sec. So right now we can take the line Dragon Breath, and it will increase to, I think, a wider radius. If I take this transformation, it says that it will be a 1 hex wide line. So I believe that will hit the center and then 1 to the right and 1 to the left of that 3 hex line. That's quite a lot of potential units that you could be hitting right there. And all 3 of the breath attacks will be able to hit a significantly more units after you take the transformation. So I did actually just want to take a second to show off how this looks. Yeah, if you go into combat, you can hit a lot of units, but it is a little bit harder to actually get this to target things. I still think that Comet is the best one just because it's easier to get that to hit a lot of units, the units that you want to hit. Now, I don't have much to say on the new Reptilian forms. I do like having access to another form because I do feel like I am starting to see a lot of the same forms already, and I'm starting to want to have more like toys to play around with, and it is great to have that. It reminds me a lot of the Shikaran. We do have other units with tails, but I don't think they quite look like this. They're fun. I could be wrong. The lizard folk do start with poisonous, which I think is coming with the free Wyvern update, but it might be part of Dragon Dawn DLC. What's cool about the new reptilian forms that I actually just noticed is you get a lot of different faces you can play around with. I think compared to goblins, this is a little bit more options, so that's really awesome to see. I think that do body type, the faces don't change too dramatically, do they? They're pretty similar. So yeah, you got like some more lizardy looking ones, and then some that are a little bit more dragon looking, and it's fun. As well as you've got access to, I think, maybe different Mohawks and interesting horns. That seems like a lot, right? I actually just noticed that the eyebrows changed stuff pretty dramatically. Specifically, this last one is cool. I like that a lot. So both of the new tomes are pretty cool. I really like the Tome of Evolution. It says that you get 2 units here. One is a summon, the summon Wyvern Fledgling, and one is a unit that you build, which I kind of missed in my first game. I thought this was also a summon, and I went for the summon heavy build and didn't take this one immediately. Yeah, if you're going to go a summon heavy build, you're going to want this unit. This one evolves into a where does it say it? Yeah, right here. You can turn into a couple different type of wyverns. It's random, and this slither can turn into um, 1 unit. It turns into this pretty interesting unit, which is ranged. You can also get extra experience from combat and make it so that if any of your evolution units die, they resurge. This only goes on units that can evolve, so it works really well with builds like feudal or summon builds that use elementals, as well as, just if you want to go for these guys and evolve them as quickly as possible, you can make that work too. It just takes time to get access to those guys. Um, we also have Draconic Vitality, which I feel like is okay. I don't actually feel like I would go for this a lot of the time because 3 hit points per unit rank probably won't amount to a big difference too often. Like going from 90 HP to 102 HP might keep a unit from dying, but it's more times than not going to make a difference. So I feel like that one's like, yeah, I'd almost never research it unless it's cheaper than the other things that I have access to. You can heal a unit for 18 temporary HP, give them strengthened, and if they're in a unit that evolves, this effect is doubled, so they can get a lot more HP, allowing them to stay in the fight longer and hopefully stay alive long enough to evolve into the next unit. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have one of these fledglings here, and he just started. He just joined these guys, so we're gonna start trying to level him up. And that's right. I had some units off to the right here that actually did evolve recently. I think I had a Wyvern fledgling turn into a gold Wyvern randomly, and we had some Slither hatchlings turn into Slithers. If we look here at this Slither, he gets the elite metal damage when he gets to elite rank, and then he gets the legend metal sprint when he gets to legend. That's pretty good on a skirmish unit. Getting extra damage is always great, but this unit is specifically dealt to kind of do that first round of damage, and being able to sprint allows you to get out of danger after they may have taken a bit of damage. This guy also has a really good skill called Slip Away. Reminds me of my favorite unit in Age of Wonders 3, the little I think it's called Naga. They can like slip away as well and heal after dying, which means they have a lot of like staying potential in a fight. Um, Slippery and Swift are a lot less interesting than Slip Away. It's got Draconic Rage and other things that you may expect from this type of unit. And yeah, let's take a little look at the Wyvern here. This guy, he's got a little bit of radiant damage because he's considered a gold unit. It's kind of, it doesn't matter what your affinity is. I'm evil and it still gave me a couple gold Wyverns. It's just randomly picked once it gets to its max rank. It's champion rank. Yeah, that turns into one of these ones randomly. If you're good, you can get obsidian. If you're evil, you can get gold. All right, and when he gets to his elite rank, he gets extra damage, and when he gets to Brawler, he gets this thing, which gives him 10 more HP as well as 1 extra defense. All around pretty useful. It's better if you're dealing with physical damage, but less useful if you're dealing with people who are doing magic damage because they just get to bypass that defense. We are almost ready to look at the Tome of Dragons, but there was one last thing from Tome of Evolution that I forgot to mention earlier, and I figured we just would cover very quickly here. When you level up a hero, they can take this novice hero skill, this support novice hero skill, that makes it so that units that evolve have minus 20% upkeep, plus 2 defense, and plus 1 resistance. That I think even works with this unit in the Tome of the Dragons. He's a tier 3 unit, but since he evolves into something else when he gets to his max rank, where does it say it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right here he evolves into a fire dragon, a tier 5. He would also have the evolve tag, so that would save you a lot of cash on that tier 3 unit. Tier 3 units I think usually cost either 20 gold or 20 mana, so saving that 20% adds up very quickly. Getting extra defense and resistance is not bad either, and I found that I was putting this on a lot of my heroes in the playthroughs that I've been experimenting with because, well, I'm kind of getting a lot of evolution units. Like this whole DLC seems like it's very evolution centric, even though it's called Dragon Dawn. It's like all evolutions benefit. All right, so now we have Tome of the Dragon, which has Firebomb as its hero skill. Make sure we talk about that and we don't forget to go over it. You can make it so that you can do damage from 6 range, or maybe +7 if you take the evocation, distant evocation hero skill. This makes it so that adjacent units will take 50% of that damage. So it's kind of like an AoE, but it's got reduced damage on the units around the target. I believe there is a 90% of inflicting burning on both the center hex and all the surrounding ones, and a 90% chance to inflict bleeding on that center hex and all the units around. Cooldown 2 is, Pretty typical for an ability like this. If you put it on your dragon, they're going to have a lot of ranged abilities that do quite a bit of damage. This is pretty similar to Frostfire Evocation, but slightly worse, I believe. Maybe better, depending on... No, the Evocation hits further, and I don't think it's reduced damage. Now this is a thing you can build, the special province improvements. I don't usually build a lot of these, so I don't know if there's much more I want to say than other than I guess if you build this, you can pick which wyverns you're going to build, because the slithers always turn into the slither, whereas the wyverns are a little bit random. Alignment influences which wyverns can be drafted. So yeah, if you're good, you can't buy the obsidian ones, and if you're evil, then you can't buy the gold ones. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that you can play around with in the mid to late game once you've unlocked your tier 3s and such. There's a couple other things in here. There's a unit enchantment. Firebomb makes it so that your battle mages can get a new attack. This is yeah, same as that ability. As you may have expected, it's the same tag, Firebomb. Purifying Flame makes it so that friendly units in a 1x radius get temporary hit points and have negative status effects removed, which is very good. Removing enemies' positive status effects is more rare, but just being able to remove status effects is relatively rare. So this is nice because it hits a lot of units. You can group up your guys, dispel, and then space them out. Before the end of your turn, we have the Draconian transformation, which like all the major transformations, it costs quite a bit to do, but it turns your units into dragons. So once they lose a certain amount of HP, once they get to 60% of their HP, they deal 30% more damage. So if they lose figures, then they're going to get almost backed up to what they've lost. But if they don't lose figures, that's really good on this unit. It makes them actually stronger once they've taken a bit of damage. Natural regeneration makes them just get more. They heal 10% of its maximum hit points as temporary hit points each turn in combat, although not more than what they started with. So that allows you to kind of like, if damage gets spread across your army, you can keep them alive a lot longer than other other builds would be able to. Immunity to burning is generally pretty good. Not everybody goes for that burning damage effect, but if you are facing that, this is quite nice. Although I think people who notice that you have been going for dragons or draconian type stuff will probably not lean too much into fire. Dragon attack makes it so that at the start of combat, units defending take 26 fire damage, and random things are set on fire at the beginning of combat. Pretty good. I think there's something in the book of pyromancy that's pretty comparable, but I never really go for that one. I think at this point we can start looking more at the young dragons. So here it says that you have access to young dragons, young fire dragons, and young frost dragons. And if your alignment is evil, you can get the obsidian ones, and if it's high, you can get the golden dragons. Right now, I'm neutral. I was evil earlier, and then I did some nice things, so I can't hire either of them in here. But if I was evil, I would be able to come in here and buy the obsidians. Right now I can get like a fire one and a frost one if I felt like it. And my oh, let's see, it's been occupied. Oh, they started to attack me. How rude of them. But yeah, I did that earlier, and I was about to engage this banner right here to level up my guys. Right now they have a little bit of experience, but they need quite a bit more to actually get to evolving. I believe the way this read, it says required for next rank is 28, and it said 32 earlier, so they may have changed what this says in this latest build. It's still not entirely clear with this bar. I don't like the bar, but you know, do the best you can with what you have. This guy, oh, he costs 30 gold and 3 mana. That's more than what I was remembering. Anywho, when he gets stuff, he gets the damage medal. Once he gets to elite rank, he gets damage medal. Intimidating Aurora is not bad. But yeah, let's go level him up and see what he turns into. You know, I think I remember talking about how this guy, he changes size once you level him up. I don't remember actually showing that off. Yeah, he's just a large target here. Anyways, let's take these guys on here and show off what stats you get on these dragons once they're tier 5. Pretty sure there are other dragons, but I don't believe I've seen the fire dragons or the frost dragons on the maps. It's been mostly bone dragons in the maps I've played on. But yeah, this guy, when he gets to his elite rank, he gets mythic. When he gets to legend rank, he gets killing momentum. I know what killing momentum is. That's when you kill somebody, you get more action points back to do more damage. All right, this guy is now at his legend rank, which means he has unlocked this medal, the mythic medal, which gives plus 10% damage, plus 1 defense, and plus run resistance. Overall, really amazing. But yeah, like I was just saying, the killing momentum I think is better. That's really good. And yeah, that's everything I had planned for this video. Thanks for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to get to cover the game as early as I have been able to. Hope to see you in some of my streams or the future videos that I do covering Age of Wonders 4.